If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, because the flag still stands for freedom. They can't take that away. I'm sure many of you will recognize those as the opening words to Lee Greenwood's hit song, God Bless the USA. And there's something in those words, those first few lines, where he talks about, if everything was to be taken away from me, but I was still living here, I'd be okay. There's something about that mentality that is both attractive and terrifying at the same time. Attractive because we all would like to think we live that way, that we cling to the things that truly matter, and that if we were to lose certain things, our cars or our nice things or even certain relationships, we would be okay. But really, what it's inviting us to is to confront the beauty of poverty. And poverty is something that instinctively we're afraid of. We distance ourselves from it. We try constantly to fill ourselves with things. But they're never going to be enough. So the question is, how can I learn to be okay, not with the maximum allowed, but with the minimum that is necessary? Now, none of us likes that question. None of us likes the idea of poverty, whether we're talking about material poverty or poverty of spirit, because we don't like needing things. How many of you actually enjoy asking someone else for help? None of us do. We don't like confronting the fact that we are in need of something. And so we're even less likely to actively give something up, to actively say, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to say goodbye to it. It's part of the reason why we can all resonate, in a sense, with the rich young man. With this man who comes to Jesus and says, Teacher, I've been following the rules. I've been doing what it is you want me to do. And when Jesus pushes it just a little bit farther, he goes away sad. He goes away sad, as the gospel tells us, because he had many possessions. But I don't think his sadness comes from the fact that he's about to lose them. His sadness comes from the fact that maybe he's not as strong as he thought he was. The first question that Jesus asks this young man, why do you call me good? When we first read it, we often think of it as Jesus rebuking the young man. But what if he's not? What if he's actually inviting the young man to contemplate something deeper, something even more profound? Jesus says to him, the only one who is good is God. So if you're calling me good, you must sense something. There must be something about me that you see as different, that brought you here to ask this question of me, of all people. You could have asked Peter, you could have asked John, but you fell at my feet. Why? In other words, who am I to you? Because if we don't have a real handle on that question, then everything else that Jesus is going to ask us to do is going to be really hard. See, we don't embrace poverty just for the sake of being poor. We don't make sacrifices just for the sake of of giving things up. We give things up. We embrace poverty to create a space in our lives for something that we have decided is greater, for something that we have encountered, that we have discovered is far more powerful than whatever it is I have been holding on to up to this moment. So when a young man encounters Jesus, he knows he's met that person. He knows he's met the one who will make all of the sacrifices worth it. But he goes away sad, because even though the one is standing right in front of him, maybe he's not as willing to make those sacrifices as much as he thought he was. That's perhaps the greatest sadness of all. That we know what is being offered to us. We know the gift that God is trying to give us. Yet it's hard to let go of the things, the people, the ideas even, that have made us comfortable, even if they haven't always made us as happy as we would like them to be. So our sadness comes because we're not as willing to be the ones who follow Jesus as we want. But the most beautiful thing of all, the single most beautiful thing of all, is that Jesus knows this. And so he doesn't make the sacrifices the condition of earning his love. The love comes first. Jesus, looking at the young man, loved him, and then said to him, "Go, sell what you have, give it to the poor, and follow me." The love that Jesus is offering us, that is what makes the sacrifices worth it. We're not giving things up for some unknown. We're giving things up to receive a gift that has already been extended to us in the incarnation, in the power of the cross, in the sacraments through which his presence continues even today. Jesus, looking at us, loves us. And in that love invites us to a response that is both generous and courageous, but all the more possible because we know precisely who we are getting in return. Jesus calls us to give up a lot of things, but he calls us to give them up so that we might be filled with him, so that we might be filled with the presence of the one who loves us no matter what. So the question that Jesus is posing to the rich young man, to me, to each and every human heart, if at the end of it all you get is God, will that be enough?